Well, hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Lauren if you're new here. This is Ritzy. He's my co-star today. He normally doesn't like to be on camera, but it's a special event. Is it? Not really. It's kind of a normal event lately. We are doing another eyeshadow palette review. Not just an eyeshadow palette, but a face palette as well, which makes it a little bit more exciting. Maybe. So today we are going to be talking about Sigma's newest collaboration with Disney. They've done a couple before. They've both been pretty good palettes, but this one is the Beauty and the Beast palette. Now, you may have heard, I may have told you, but I am a Disney adult, so they always get me with the Disney collabs. Now, this is what the palette looks like. It comes with the standard Sigma brush, which I do like their brushes. They're pretty good. But this is the palette we're going to be doing a look with today. We're also going to talk about the face palette. Now, the eyeshadow palette is $59. The face palette is $39. So it's a little expensive, I'm not going to lie. But in the face palette, you do get a blush, a highlighter, and a bronzer. Though I will say, I thought the bronzer was also a blush. It's not. I had to go turn off the air filters. I am still filming in my husband's office. Wow. We wait for our other kitty, Hunter, to recover from his surgery. I miss my old setup, but we'll get back there soon. Kitty is recovering well, so that's all we can ask for. But let's get into some swatches. You know, I did do swatches of both the eyeshadow palette as well as the face palette. It was kind of sad because I know I'm gonna end up ruining the little impressions, the little design impressions, but imprints. That's the word I'm looking for. I love that Sigma does this. It's really cute. I love that one is a teapot for Mrs. Potts. Perfect. Very, very cute. But I know I'm going to ruin them. And I need to because I need to use the palette, right? So it's fine. But we are going to do swatches of both the eyeshadow and the face palette. We're going to use them. We're just going to do one look today. I think something easy. And yeah, let's get into some swatches. Let's get into a look. And then let's talk about this collection and if it's something that I think you need. Okay, let's do some swatches of this palette. I'm excited. So we're gonna just get into this. I'm trying to balance a cat on my lap at the same time, so it should be interesting. Little Town, Cogsworth, Winter's Night, Belle, very light shimmer, Runaway, Pots, oh my god, and someone is setting off fireworks. Rose Petal. I'm obviously not gonna swatch anything on my watch band. We have Forbidden, Bookworm, Be Our Guest, Beast, Enchantress, Ego, and Ma Cherie. Ooh, okay, that's really pretty. So that is the entire Beauty and the Beast palette swatched. Should we put it on our face? Yes. So one thing that I noticed with the palette when it launched, now I knew this going into buying the palette because I saw it, it's very neutral. It's a very neutral palette, I'd say, with a couple pops of color, but overall, we're dealing with a pretty neutral palette. Does it fit the theme of Beauty and the Beast? I think a common comment that I saw was that it's kind of lacking a bright yellow, you know, like Belle's ball gown. It's a bright yellow. It's kind of missing that. It's got a lot of earthy tones that are very pretty. You know, it might have been good to have a bright red there to represent the red rose, but you know, the rose petals, the color they chose was this one in the corner. Not what I would have done, but I also was into it. I don't know. I have bought so many beautiful, colorful palettes lately. I don't know, the neutral one caught my eye. What can I say? But, oh, that cat is gonna kill me. Oh my gosh, okay. Well, we're just gonna jump into a look now that we've done some swatches. We wanna see how this performs. It swatched really well, but I always say you can't trust swatches because the skin on your arm is different than the skin on your eye. I know mine is at least. So we're just going to see how it performs on the eye. Now, in my order, Sigma actually included an eyeshadow base primer. It was like the free gift with purchase. I have not used their eyeshadow base primer before, and it's a stick. And this was in the color Radiance. And it almost reminds me a little bit of my MAC paint pot, which is a good sign because I love using my MAC paint pot as a primer. But we're just going to go ahead and put it all over the eye. Actually kind of looks like the same color as my favorite MAC paint pot in Bare Study. I use that one all the time. We're gonna see if it's any good. Hopefully it is, so it doesn't ruin the eyeshadow, right? Okay, I'm definitely gonna use the brush that comes with it because it's actually really pretty. So I guess we're just gonna do a little bit of a basic look today because that's kind of what we're dealing with, right? So let's go into Cogsworth, which is just this brown right here. I'm gonna go ahead and start by putting it on my upper eye using the fluffier end of the brush. Now I will say, one thing I know about Sigma is that their eyeshadows are a little bit more kick-uppy in the pan, so you just have to be a little more aware of fallout. That's why I'm just kind of tapping my brush off. I don't have any issues. Now I will say this eyeshadow primer is, oh my god, that cat is showing a little bit through the eyeshadow as of right now, so I'm trying to build it up. And I'm actually using my ColourPop mirror from their Snow White collection, so Princesses Unite. I will say the eyeshadow is going on really well on top of the primer, so that's good. It's like 9 o'clock at night right now and I'm doing my makeup. It feels weird. It feels wrong. Okay, I'm gonna let the cat in. He's gonna like throw stuff on the floor. He's gonna like just start a riot. Okay, next what I wanna do, I actually really liked how the ColourPop's swatched, so I wanna go into that one. I think I'm gonna go and just put it kind of in my crease, just a little bit. And see how that does. It's a very pretty pink, and I do wanna add some color to this look. I mean, look, we all like a good neutral look, but it doesn't really tell you a whole lot about the palette, especially with Sigma. They do their neutrals so well, but I have noticed we have their Cinderella palette and there's a purple in there that doesn't work, does not work. I don't know if it's because the palette is just a little bit older. It's not that old though. I have older palettes. Okay, I like how this color is laying down. It's pretty. And like, look, all the colors in this palette do get along very well with each other. They're just a little more neutral. Yeah, I really do like how that laid down quite a bit. That was nice. Let's go into, let's go into this Runaway color here. I'm gonna put it on just the outer edge of my lid. Looks like a nice dark brown. A little bit of reddy undertone in this one, which I like. It's actually quite pigmented. And for this one, we're gonna do a different look on this side. Might as well. It is 9 o'clock at night. I'm gonna wash this off right after I put it on, most likely, and go to bed. So let's make this look a little more neutral. Let's go into Be Our Guest right here. I'm just going to put it all over my finger. And I'm just gonna put a little bit right here. Ow, kitty. And I like it. It is very neutral, which I'm okay with. Do I want to put something underneath the waterline? Sure, why not? Let's go into Bookworm right here. I'm gonna go ahead, just put a little bit of that underneath the waterline. And this look will definitely pull together once I put on eyeliner or mascara, which we will be doing after we do both eyes. But that's kind of, it's a simpler look. It was really easy to do, but that's kind of the style that I like to do my makeup normally, like day to day. So let's leave it at that. I like it. And so far this primer is working pretty well. So yeah, It is not fun to open though. I wonder if that's why it was the free gift. No one could open it. I kind of want to play a little more with this Potts color. So let's just do a halo eye. I really do like just doing a simple halo eye. And I think that'll give this color kind of a chance to shine a little bit more. Maybe, if I can pick it up on the brush. And we are just going to create a halo on the eye. I will say that it did take me a little bit of time to build up. It's not quite as pigmented as I typically like my shadows. I do like a super pigmented eyeshadow though. So if you don't want something super pigmented, then this might be a good bet. You can build the colors up, but it does take a little bit of time. I always fast forward through those parts when I'm doing eyeshadow demonstrations because who wants to watch me try to blend something for 5 minutes? Right? Yeah, that did take a little bit of time to build up, and it's still not quite as dark as I was hoping it would be, but that's okay. This is, we're learning. We're learning as we go, right? Okay, so I have to go into Rose Petal, this color right here. It felt really nice. I don't know what it's gonna look like. It kind of looks like it might be like a multi-chrome or a duochrome because it's looking like couple different colors actually. So it's like kind of a pinky orangey color, I would say. It's pretty. It's not super exciting, but it's pretty. This look feels like it's missing something. Let's go into Belle because this one swatched a lot lighter than I thought it was going to. And I'm just taking some, I'm actually taking some on an eyebrow brush. But I'm just gonna put a little bit of that one over here. It is very, very light. Very, very light. Wish this one was more yellow. I do. Let's put some in here. Okay, let's call it a day. I don't think that's bad. Interesting color. We're going to talk about both palettes at the end, don't worry. But that's what we have right now. So, you know, let me go ahead and put on eyeliner and mascara. Then let's get to the face palette. Before we get into the look with the face palette, I did want to just swatch it really fast because I'm curious to see what this bronzer looks like. When I first opened it, I almost thought it was a blush, but it is a bronzer. So let's just real fast swatch these. Ooh, it's like a dusty rose. The blush is called Something Sweet. That's pretty. I'm just covered in like dog scratches and cat scratches and moving boxes scratches. Okay, the highlighter is Lumiere. Oh, wow. Okay. That's pretty. And then the bronzer, I hate ruining these imprints, you know I do. The bronzer has quite a bit of shimmer to it, which I actually really like. And this one's called Beauty Within. So it's definitely got some glow to it. Let me turn off the beauty light. Okay. This is with the lights turned off. It's a little dark in here because it is night. But as you can see, there is some shimmer. This is a bit warmer than I typically like my bronzers, but I do like how this is more of a kind of mauve-y pink. This is very golden shimmery, and I am very excited. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, mascara and eyeliner is on, and I feel like the looks really did come together. We'll talk about them in a little bit, but I want to get to this face palette first. The face palette is gone. Oh, found it. It was under the mirror. Yes, it's bigger than the mirror. I shock myself sometimes. So just as a reminder, this is what it looks like. So we have the bronzer, the blush, and the highlight here. I do have a little bit of contour on. So we are actually going to use a bronzer like a bronzer. Now, if you didn't know, the difference between contour and bronzer is supposed to be a little bit more brighter while when you talk about contour, normally it is a little more of a darker, cooler toned color because the contour is supposed to kind of deepen the shadows on your face, while the bronzers are supposed to be on kind of the high points of your face, as if like the sun was shining and hitting your face on those points, if that makes sense. So we're gonna go into the bronzer first. Now it is a shimmery bronzer. Ooh, definitely put a little bit too much on. It is a little bit warm, but it is pretty. It's definitely not something that I could use as a contour. It's far too warm, but I like it. And I'm sorry if the mirror is in front of the camera. I'm trying to balance a cat that likes to use his claws on my lap between him just scratching my leg up and then knocking my table with all the makeup on it over. He's a big kitty. He's very insistent right now. He says it's bedtime, it's time to cuddle, Mom. What the heck are you doing? The bronzer definitely isn't as shimmery on the skin as it looks like it would be. And it is very pretty. I do like it. Okay, let's go into the blush. This is Something Sweet. And again, I'm just trying to be sure to tap my brush off. This is definitely a more mauve-y toned blush, literally like a rosewood type of color. So not mauve-y. Mauve-y is not the right word. But it is a color blush that I like because it's a little more neutral. You're not getting those bright pinks. They're so in right now, which I have a lot of. Okay, we got blush on. And now let's go into highlighter. There is a lot of kick up in the pan. Wow. It's a really impressive highlighter. Okay, we have the full face done. Let's talk about both these palettes, both the eyeshadow palette and the face palette. Do I recommend them? I don't know, let's talk about it. So first up, let's talk about the eyeshadow palette, the Beauty and the Beast palette. It comes with a brush. Where is it? A dual-sided brush, which is nice. Sigma brushes are pretty good. And just as a reminder, this is what the palette looks like. Retails for $59. I do have it linked below. Check it out if you're interested. But what is there to say about this palette? It's neutral with a couple pops of color. It's a very neutral palette. It's a very neutral color story. Lots of browns, lots of tans, light golds. But it's pretty, you know, it's pretty. I knew it was neutral when I saw it, but I was shocked. Is that the color story that I would have picked for Beauty and the Beast? One thing that always bothers me about an eyeshadow packaging is if the outer packaging doesn't match what's on the inside. So in this case, we've got like greens on here. There are no greens inside the palette. We do have like a navy blue. We've got gold. We've got some kind of pinky colors, but there's no green in the palette. So it would be nice if maybe there was a pop of green, and I still think there should be a red for the red rose. I still think there should be, but you know, that's just my opinion. It's fine. And I do think there should have been a brighter yellow just to match Belle's dress. That would have made more sense to me. But it is a pretty palette. Now, in terms of performance, what can we say about a neutral palette? Well, their neutral colors did perform really well. I didn't have any issues blending them. I was actually even impressed with their eyeshadow primer. It was pretty good. Now, they do neutrals really well. Their more colorful colors are kind of a hit or miss. So while Pasta's really pretty and it worked really well when I just put it in my crease, when I was putting it over a larger area, it was a little harder to work with. It definitely didn't have as much pigmentation as I wanted, and I kept having to layer it on and blend it out. It kept blending really beautifully. I didn't experience any sort of patchiness or anything, but it took a little while to get to where I wanted to. And even then, I wanted it a little bit brighter, and it just wasn't that. I don't love their shimmer formula as much as their matte. I think their matte formula is much better. All the mattes that I used were really, really smooth. They went on well, they blended out well. Everything was pigmented with the exception of pots, which again, my preference is just to have it be more pigmented, but the shimmers are just okay. They're nothing special. I think they tried to do something special with this rose petal color in the corner because it is, I think it's a duochrome. I think there's a little bit of a shift in there. And it is pretty, but it's just not super unique. You know, at this point, I feel like I've kind of seen it all though, so maybe it's just me. I mean, their shimmer formula is fine, but it's just not out of this world. It's not show-stopping, if you will. I have a lot of palettes that have super pigmented shimmers, super vibrant shimmers. That's just kind of what I like. These, there's not a whole lot of color to the base. They're a little bit thin on the color, if you will, but you know, I mean, they're fine. They're just nothing that I would go out of my way for. I will always go out of my way though for a Disney collection, which is one of the reasons why I picked this up. And you know, if you're looking for a good neutral palette, I think this is a good neutral palette, I really do. But let's talk about the face palette. So again, this is what it looks like, just as a reminder. It's got the blush, the highlighter, it's got the bronzer in it. The bronzer is interesting. I don't know how I feel about this. I need to use it more. It's a little warm for what I like. I do wish there was a little more shimmery on the skin, but again, this is just a first impression, so I need to play with it a little bit more to see if I can get a little more shimmer on the skin. I think this is one of those colors too, where I would probably just use this and not use it in tandem with a blush, because I kind of like it just by itself. It's definitely not cool tone, it's not a contour, it's a bronzer color for sure. Normally I use my bronzers as a contour sometimes, I interchange them, but this one is just a little bit too warm leaning for me to do that. So it's interesting, but it is funny. When I opened it, I was like, what a weird choice to put two blushes and a highlighter. Maybe I was tired when I opened it. It was probably it. The blush, again, it's a very rosewood type of color. It's very pretty. It's not very bright, stop you in your tracks, but I like that. This is something that I'll wear a lot because this is a more neutral leaning blush, I would say, but it's very pretty. It's a little more natural. I like it. Now, his highlighter is stunning. I don't know what I was expecting, but it's absolutely gorgeous. So very, very stunning. It's not subtle at all. You're gonna look like you have highlighter on your face. It's gonna look fabulous. And I like that it's a bright yellow, and I like that it's Lumiere on there. You know, that fits. That color story fits for me. So I really do like this face palette. I think they did a great job with this. Overall, would I recommend either of these two palettes to you? It's up to you, right? I can't tell you what to get or what not to get, but I will say, if you search for Sigma codes, you can normally find a discount code. I used one on this collection, so I was able to get it at a discount. So definitely search for one if you are planning on picking either of these up to save yourself a little bit of money, right? I do really like the face palette. I'm not quite sure how I feel about the bronzer yet. That one I have to keep using, but I thought that blush and the highlighter were really stunning. I thought they were beautiful, and they're colors that I will get a lot of use out of. The palette, do you need another neutral palette? How big is your collection? Hopefully not as big as mine. So maybe you are looking for maybe a little more of a neutral palette with a couple pops of color. This would be good, especially since their neutral colors work really well. Now there's a lot of kick up in the pan when I went to use the eyeshadows. There was a lot of kick up, but I didn't experience a lot of fallout on my face because I was tapping my brush off as I went, and that helps a lot. So do I recommend it? The Disney fan in me does. The Disney fan thinks they did a really pretty job with the outer packaging. Still wish the inner packaging matched the outer packaging a little bit better, but it is a pretty color story. When I think of Beauty and the Beast, the bright yellow sticks out, but it is more neutral, earthy tones. So a lot of browns for the Beast, the drab castle. So it kind of works, you know? Overall, as a Disney collector, I'm definitely happy to have these. I think if I wasn't such a obsessor over Disney, I wouldn't need these in my collection, but for now I am glad that I have them. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought down below, and I will see you in the next one, which probably will be another eyeshadow palette review. We will see. Bye!